All right, so this is going to be hopefully a somewhat quick tutorial on how to make this material that I have right here. In the tweet that I posted about this was also in that tweet, but I will not be showing how to make this in this video, mainly because of the fact this is from a Tycoon pack. It's slightly modified, but 99% of it is from this Tycoon pack here. So if you want to purchase this, it's super easy to make these modifications yourself. I'm sure anyone can figure it out. So if you want to purchase this, I will leave the link. It's not by me, it's by a guy named Furthest, extremely talented VFX and material artist. But yeah, I'll leave the link for this in the description. But yeah, so this is not going to be part of the tutorial. It's just going to be focusing on this material here. But if you want me to recreate that cylinder ring thing and make a tutorial on that, I can for sure do that. Anyway, yeah, so we're going to start by making a new material here. I'm going to call it glint matte, and we're going to open that up. And I'm just going to drag it into this top bar. So first thing is I'm going to change the blend mode to translucent. And next thing is we're going to want a texture parameter. So you can hold down T, click, and that's going to give you this texture sample. You can convert it to a parameter, texture. And in my case, I'm going to use the claim material. And this is just a texture that I have. And first, I'm going to, just to start, drag all these into here. Right, so RGB is just the base color, so that's into emissive and base color, and the alpha goes into opacity to make it so the background doesn't show. Next thing that I'll do is we'll apply, or we'll give the ability to apply like a tint to the image there. So I'm gonna hold down M, put a multiply node, and hold Control to drag nodes like that. And I'm gonna hold down M, give another multiply node, and plug that into there. And then I'm gonna hold down V. That's going to give us a color parameter. We're going to do that texture tint, drag that in there, and then S and tint intensity. And we'll give this by default like 3, for example. So now if we change this to say green, that gives us that emissive color. And if we change this to like 5, 10, it's just going to make it brighter and brighter and brighter. We'll leave it at 3. And so this is kind of just a general base for changing the color and how bright that color is. Next, we will make the material face the camera always, so it follows the camera, and make it that bob up and down kind of. So that's going to be done with the world position offset. First thing is we'll make it face the camera. So you can search for a function material call. You can also get this by holding F and clicking. That'll give you the same thing. And for this, we're going to call a sprite function. And we're going to drag that into a add node. I'm just going to leave that blank for now, and into world position offset. So already, once this compiles, you can see it's super tiny, but it follows the camera already. What we want to do is we want to change this XY scale. So if I make this, I'll change that to 1920 by 1080. And these values are just because my texture that I have is 1920 by 1080. This would change depending on what texture you have. And I'm gonna do one more thing just so I can change the scale. And this is gonna be texture scale. And we're gonna make this 0.5. Right, and so there you go. So now this is always facing the camera. Next thing is you want that little bobbing up and down. So we're going to want a make float 3. Drag that into there. These two can stay nothing because they're default to 0. We're just going to change the Z value here. So we'll grab a time node and a sine. Sine, if we preview it right now, it's not going to give us anything. If we plug time into it, you can see it's just going to be a ball flashing black and white because it's just going between 0 and 1. We can manipulate how fast that flash happens by putting a multiply in between it. And then we can change how high this is going to bob up and down by using this multiply. And already if you zoom in, you can see it's moving up and down. But if we go here, we can do bob speed and say make this 5. And you see now it's jittering super, super fast. But if we were to go to scalar and do bob height, now it's going to go super fast, super high, right? So we can slow this to something like 0.5, and that's going to give us a bit more of a linear up and down that looks a lot nicer. And so this is about halfway done, this whole material. So far, pretty simple. Yeah, now we're going to make the kind of band that runs across the screen. So we're going to start with a generate band node. This is really, really useful because this basically means that we don't have to have a specific texture for this kind of like shimmer that goes across. It doesn't require like a texture with a white line through it. You could replace this with a texture with a white line. That's totally fine to do. But in this case, I'm just opting to use the generate band since it doesn't require any additional textures. So we're going to keep previewing this for right now because we're going to make a few modifications. So first is we're going to put in a width. Oops, a width, and this is going to be 0.01. This gives us a super small band up there. And then we're going to do the sharpness. And if you're confused on how I'm putting down these scalar parameters, I'm just holding S and then clicking. And this is going to be offset. Actually, sorry, I don't believe I need that. And for sharpness, we're going to do 100. If you notice, if I put it to 0, for example, it kind of blurs that. We want it to be super defined when it comes across, because that's going to look a lot better. And then for this one, it's not going to be offset, sorry. Or nope, it is. It is. Offset is going to be 5. And then we're going to do one more for the compare. And that's going to be 0.1. That gives us that. Okay, so now once we have this set up, we're going to have to manipulate the input coordinates to make it on a diagonal, make it move side to side, and make this a lot bigger. We don't just change the width, mainly because if you just change the width, it's going to move really, really slowly across the material, and it's going to move, and if you try to make it move faster, it'll move faster, but it'll be like constantly going through. It just looks really bad. So we can do a few things to kind of get around that. First is we're going to get a panner, plug that into there, and we're going to take the Y speed and do negative 0.1. And as you can see, it's already starting to move down. We're going to grab a time node, plug that into there, and add a period, and we're going to do 5.50. This value here is just so after 5.5 seconds elapse, you can see it kind of snaps back up. That's because this will just make it like kind of shimmer more often. If you don't have this, that's fine, but it'll be like 10 seconds or something between each time it shimmers. So that's just something to keep in mind. Next thing is we want to modify this coordinate here. So we're going to get a scale UVs by center. And in here, we're going to use a custom rotator. And I will go back through and quickly explain what these do after. And then I want a texture coordinate node. The rotation center is going to be 0.5 and 0.5. This node, by the way, is a constant vector 2. You can hold down 2 on the keyboard to get that. Just hold on 1 or 3 to get a 3, 2, or 1, or 4. Rotation angle is going to be another scalar. Plug it into there. And in this case, I'm going to do negative 0.35. So already now we have that angle. This can be kind of whatever you want. I've just found this is a good angle that works for me. Now we need to deal with the line being super small. So we can put down another vector 2. And if we put this to 1.5 and 13.5, you'll notice that now we have this line going across. So just one more thing we got to do before this is done. Get a lerp, drag this into the B and alpha, drag the texture RGB into the A, drag that into the base color. If we stop previewing, now we have this, and we get that glint across. And that's it. It's a pretty simple material setup. There's a lot of modifications that you can make to this if you'd like. For example, something actually I haven't tested, but if we remove the compare, yeah, so if you remove the compare, you notice it starts from the middle. So the compare is just making it start from all the way over here and going across. Yeah, you can change the offset, you can change, the width down here if you want, how fast it moves across, the angle, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so let's throw this on something and see how it looks in the editor. So you can go to add, and we're just gonna add a plane. And if you have it selected in your content browser, you can just click that right there. And that's what that looks like. And so yeah, it's a pretty simple, this is the other one here. Let's do them side by side. The main difference between the two of them right now is that this one over here, I'll show you actually, has one extra thing to it. This result is popped in multiply. With this, that's set to white, and that's put in like that. And so that just makes this a little bit of a brighter color. And then we can also change this intensity, make it a little bit brighter, and that kind of makes that contrast a little bit better. So now if we go back to this one, this is the new one we just made. That looks really, really clean as it goes across there. And so yeah, main things to note is that these values are probably going to change for you depending on your texture. Again, this is the size of the texture. So if I open this up and go to it, it is, as you can see in the middle, 1920 by 1080. And so that's why I have those values in here. But yeah, I hope this made sense. If not, please leave a comment and I will try and help you with it. And again, yeah, if you want to see how to make something similar to this, let me know and I can for sure go about recreating it and making a tutorial on that, because the two of these together do look quite nice. I'll show you here. Yeah, so that's kind of the effect that you get there. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, again, I hope this was useful, and yeah, if you have any questions, let me know and I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. Yeah, subscribe.